Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you, Tamir, for bringing the Become One song here. And I would like him to begin with some introductory, and then after a few words, you will be welcome to ask any questions you like.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tamir Masas, and I'm from Israel. And I want to start with the appreciation for all of you for coming here to practice. It's very unique and rare to meet so many people coming to practice and pay all their effort for this wonderful teaching. For the last 20 years I practice, and it's always amazed me to meet new people, sit with the new people from different countries and actually make peace without open our mouth. A few words about myself that you will let me know. We will make a kind of knowing each other. As I say, I'm living in Israel, and I have a wonderful wife. Her name is Dalit, and I have 3 sons. And for me to take this wonderful teaching that I was very, very lucky to get it from Zen Master Sungsan and from וסונים and many different wonderful teachers, to take it to the relationship. It's very, very special. I arrived in Korea, in South Korea, in '98, and start my first kyolche. First 3 months, sitting silence, sitting on the cushion, try to understand myself. And I was very, very lucky and appreciate this opportunity, because every day we had Zen Master Sungsan come for 20 minutes or half an hour, give us a talk. At the time I was 22 years old, and I didn't know how lucky I am. And I stayed over there for 4 years as a monk. Every year we kept silence for 3 months, practice, and every year, twice a year, we were teaching around and give some lecture. And I asked myself, why did I came to Korea? Why to become a monk? Why to study this teaching and do this hard work? 1 year before I went to Korea, I had an event that affected my life very much. When I was around 20 years old, it's not so special, but I drove my car from Tel Aviv south to my apartment, and on the way I saw a big marked question on the wall. And the question was, what did you do for peace today? I knew that I know how to affect people, but I noticed that I fight with them. I make myself right and make them wrong all the time. I realize I don't make any peace. I just make fighting with people. I always said that some question you have to stop and try to figure out, what is this question? It's a very strong question. So I stopped my car on the side and I start to ask myself, what did I do for peace? I realized that until I don't have peace inside myself, I can't make any peace. I realized that until I won't make peace with my mind, my heart, and my tanjan, make them all in peace, I can never do anything for connect people to relax and be peaceful with themselves. I start to buy any courses, any book, anything that can give me some peace mind. And after 1 year on my journey, I arrived in Korea, and it was '98. And Zen Master Sungsan always talk about direction. Why do you do what you do? Why do you eat every day? Why do you sleep every day? Yeah, everyone tired, they go to sleep. Everyone hungry, they eat. But what do you do with this energy? Where do you put this energy? How do you use this energy for helping yourself and others? I guess I come from a country that have lots of problems all the time. I guess you heard something about that, no? So it was very clear to me that in Israel, this teaching, it will be wonderful and very, very important. So from 2003 until nowadays, I try to teach as much as I can. And it's interesting throughout the last 20 years of practicing, as much as the direction become more clear, things in my life start to change. I choose my direction. I choose to help people. I choose to connect them to peace. And a few years ago, when I was again in South Korea, in a Kyoto, I got a new Buddhist name. The name I got from Zen Master De Bonk, named De-An, which means great peace. So it's interesting how things start to connect. The last spring, I got Bodhisattva teacher. This is this kasa. It's a Bodhisattva kasa, which means become more commit to help others. So how do I take this direction to daily life? So how do I take my direction to daily life in a romantic relationship with children as a father? So peace have many shape, many form. Sometimes it's look at home, when I arrive at home and I see my wife's face not so smiling, okay? So it's look like doing some washing dishes, wash the children, arrange the house. This is making peace. The action is the same, but the direction, what is give me the power to do it. The direction, that's what I want to make people more close to peace, give me lots of energy to do whatever I do, even coming here for practicing with you together. So a person that has a clear direction have lots of energy to do activity, connect to this direction. And this is really wonderful when you try or you need to make a decision in life. If the decision is according to your direction, no problem, you just do it. If the decision is not according to your direction, you don't do it and you just do it. So not so much confused. So direction, having a clear direction, gives us lots of benefit. And the last thing about direction is in our practice. Sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm sick. But if the direction clear, okay, tired, you practice. Sick, also practice. Which means remind in your mind, why did you come here? What is your job now? And how do you do it 100%? So practicing time, coming here, just practice. I have no wife now, no children, nothing. Only the flow, that's all. When I'm with my children, only my children. I don't think about practice. Which means this direction can make lots of benefit and have lots of form and shape. And it's a life question. It's not something that you already understand and it's closed. Not at all. So I use the direction when I enter my house every day and I ask myself a question at the door. How do I make peace today? Sometimes just give a smile, already peace. Sometimes only give a compliment. Sometimes it's harder. You need to clean all the house. But what is the most important? This peace is most important. So it's very fragile. It can change very quickly. Only one word and it's completely damaged. Very difficult to clean this one word after you said it. So this is why we practice very hard to keep clear moment to moment. Then we can really make peace together. So I really hope that we use this time here together to make peace. We don't need even to talk with each other. Actually, when we talk, we give our ideas. Sometimes we separate ourselves. So I hope we can all charge ourselves here and make all around peace. Thank you for listening and for your hard practice.
Thank you very much, Tamir, for the wonderful introductory.
Thank you, Sim.
As always, when I listen to him, and the energy that we experienced in Korea, all the teaching we got from Seung Sahn Sunim, that comes back alive, as if it was just next door. We knew how lucky we were to study with Zen Master Seung Sahn. We knew that those years were the most formative years. course, everything else is important, and everyone else is important. But when you feel that you're young and you're being shaped into something with your own effort, you're glad, you're happy. So let's use the same kind of energy, the same kind of direction to give a formative time now to each other. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. How did you solve the dilemma of monk or layperson, and how did you decide that you would be a layman?
It was very easy for me. I fall in love.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So what if somebody is afraid of silence? How do you teach meditation to that person? We don't teach people that meditation equals silence, because it doesn't. We teach people to look inside and then see what's going on. Is it silence inside? Is it a movie inside? Is it a music concert? Is it chaos? Is it an action movie? What is going on in your mind? That is meditation.
The way I see it, like working with people, it's very interesting, because I don't try to bring them to silence. Actually, if they are watching what they see what they see, and hear and smell and everything, touch, with the here and now. Slowly, slowly they become silent, and they digest it slowly, slowly. It's not just push them into a room, silent and dark. That's it, you stay with it. So it's kind of a progress, as way I see it.
I would like to ask Tamir, and I hope I won't hurt anybody here from Israel, but I want to ask you, how will you keep this direction of peace when your 3 children will have to go and serve in IDF, and how will you teach them to keep this direction?
I really believe that peace starts within yourself. It's not about what you're doing outside. It starts from the inside. How much peace they have with themselves. They know how to make, to calm down and handle the situation. Even now, my oldest is 10 years old. Actually, he was here in the summer, and he sat with us a few hours every day until he got, a little bit crazy and walk around here. But if he know how to handle a situation when it's arises in school or fighting with different children, and he know how to make himself down, just return to the breathing, sense his body, and think before he act. Very simple, actually, but very, very unique. In daily life, you see many people just act according to what they feel, and not just stop and think and then they act. So I really believe that even when he grow up and go to army, and whatever he have to do is a duty in Israel. Okay, it's not a volunteer, not yet.
I know.
Hopefully when he... So I believe that he will choose how to act in a peace way.
Thank you very much.
So sometimes you cannot change the outside condition. You have to go to the army in Israel. If not, you go to jail. But you can choose as much as you can with a peace mind how to help the situation. Okay? And it's very interesting. I really, really believe strong decision make a different reality. Not just the way you catch the reality. It's really put you in different places. When I look about my life, every time I was very strong decision, suddenly something happened. I find myself in a different job in the army that I could support. When I returned from to Israel after 6 years in the Far East, I had to go again to the army. Every year we go for 30 days, between 15 to 30 days. And when I arrive, I come with the full casa, everything. I said, I don't want to hold any weapon, but I want to support. I want to serve. Can you find something good for me? And he looked at me, the chief commander looked at me and said, I have something very special for you. You have a relaxed energy. I want this. So he put me in a hospital that if there is a huge, like if they find like a bomb or something like a huge event when many people are getting hurt, so I need to collect them and relax them. So I found my own job, and until 40, I was serving in the army and tried to make over there peace. Not try to be against it. I find that if I against something, if I hold the peace position and they hold the fighting position, it's still making a fighting. So how can I come close to them and try to change inside? So this is what I try with my children. And hopefully it will be okay. Thank you.
I have also a question. If you are working in a place where it's getting like very aggressive, like in the most companies these days, where all, let's say, 10% get burnout, how to behave there? Because like the Buddhists say you should help, but actually these people, they say if you help, you are just an idiot because you get more work and then you get kicked out. Or for example, they used to make like jokes like that the Buddhists are good workers because they behave like slaves because they want always to help. So actually on one side I like the Buddhist like perceptions, but on the other side when I go in these kinds of, let's say, business groups, then it's getting like really like I sometimes I feel you have to be a little bit like badass to survive there. So how you can put the praxis into this kind of environment?
How do you survive everyday life, whether you are in a for-profit business or a non-profit business, because you have to make ends meet? There are no 10% burnouts. There's 60-70% burnouts everywhere. Why? The minds are weak and they cannot continue their direction too long. Then people change, they need some external change, and then they start again from square one. So that means they really don't understand themselves too deep and they're not really committed to what they're doing. So every single restart is a chance to start again and go deeper again and again and again. But when we reach the same threshold of pain inside, then mostly we give up and retreat and start again. This pain is the necessity to change. This is the deep core of everybody's ego, which we hold very strongly as our deepest identity, although it is not. And usually you can see this in relationships, especially people who divorce many times or change partners many times. What is the threshold of, sorry, bye, I cannot do this any longer, see you. Same thing with commitment in life. So change is okay, but why? Do you keep your direction, change your direction? Do you become a more sincere person, or do you delude yourself again and again and again? So throughout my changes, of which there was plenty, I was fortunate to hold Seung Sahn Sunim's teaching as the dearest and deepest, and kept that, no matter what happened to me, due to my own karma. Out of these last, 26 years, I have very few real morals of the story. Very few, but I have 3 things that I want to impart on you now. First, associate with people you trust. Do things you have reason to believe in. And have the courage to follow these 2, no matter what the world says as an opinion. The world has tendencies that are totally idiotic and crazy, and billions of people follow that. That means you lose your own eyes and ears, etc. So that means you do something, but you have no reason to believe in, you don't have energy for that, and then you burn out. That's the problem. Same thing with people. Why do we give up relationships? Why? If you lived long enough, you know it's not about the aesthetics, it's not about even emotions or thoughts, whatever. Do you deeply love and trust that person? That's the question. And if you don't trust that person, you leave. So that's why these 2 sentences are important, and also the courage to keep that. And then you have your own integrity and you are autonomous, and these tendencies from the world cannot control you. So it's like a second or third degree question, why do people burn out? The first degree is, why did they start that activity in the first place? Did they really believe in it? Through the experience, did they see it as something they have reason to believe in? Or they made a couple of compromises just to make money and survive and get by, which everybody does, but then the burnout rate goes up exponentially. Ask the right question, you get the right answer. This time your question was fine, but existentially when you make these decisions that I talk about, if people ask the wrong questions, they get the wrong answers.
The way I see it, to add a few words for your question, is about relationship. How do you make relationship? What energy do you bring to the relationship? If somebody takes advantage on me, what does it mean on me? How do I make clear relationships? Zen Master Sung San always talk about correct relationship. From one side, he always said to us, keep a good face, always smile. From the other side, he could be very strict. He could cut you right on the spot. And in between the two, he was making with you correct relationship. So sometimes need to smile and say something good. Sometimes need to be very straight. Nobody can give you how to do it. Only our clear mind make it clear. When you give a smile, when you kick somebody else with a big heart.
When you have a clear mind, whatever you do is the right action. Is it true?
No. You can say this for yourself. You have a clear mind, you do the right thing, and things happen around you which you never even dreamt of, whether it's a good dream or a bad dream. Yeah, clear mind. How clear is it? We talk about clear like space, clear like a mirror. How big is that mirror? Does it reflect on only your line of cause and effect, only your speech, your thought, your emotion, your action, only yours? Or it reflects maybe the next person's, or the groups around you, or a whole country's, or a whole continent. So how clear is the mind and how extensive that mind space is? Can you reflect someone else's mind? Can you become one with that mind the same way as you see yourself? So clarity extends as far as your mind space goes. And the quality of that clarity equals the quality of your mirror, how undistorted and undivided that is. Most of us have serious problems even with our own karma, let alone seeing somebody else's. So if your mind is clear, you see your own karma clearly, great. Step one, check. But it's not enough. Have you ever crossed an intersection that your line was clear, the light was green, you did the right turn, and just behind you, two people, bam, they just crash. And if you do not pay enough attention, you cannot prevent these people maybe slamming into you. Nobody is at the wrong place at the wrong time. You can safely forget that, just like there are no accidents. What happens is our mind wasn't clear enough and wasn't spacious enough and wasn't preventing the whole thing from happening. Okay? So yes, the answer is your own clarity is not enough. With your clarity included, there can be terrible things happening right next to you. But your place in that equation, in that situation, is very important. In 1992 and 3, we went to the United States to visit the Sangha there, and we met, of course, Zen Master Sung San, and he gave very important Dharma speech. And it was transmission ceremony, everybody was very happy, and Sung San gave a talk which some students said, even in the United States, he didn't give too often. He said, this world is changing very quickly. Until communism existed, it resembled an apple which was green on one side, red on the other side. By the time communism disappeared, the apple turned all red. And it started to smell. And that smell had very specific, taste. They called it money. Some parts of the apple started to have these black spots, these conflicts and wars that actually made it rot very quickly. And after a while, the apple cannot stay on the tree, it just falls down on the ground. Then it splashes and the skin cracks and the rotten flesh just goes onto the ground. But then the seeds are ripe. So your choice is actually, what do you want to be? Do you want to be the superficial, cracked skin of the apple with the black spots? Or do you want to be the rotten flesh or the ripe seeds? That's our choice. We have not much else. Everybody is on this apple because everybody is born into a human body. Everybody lives and dies on this planet whether we like it or not. But your choice is to be the problem or the solution, or totally out of it because it's just so superficial. You don't even comprehend what this life is about. So that's why this clarity is important. Then you can see your place in this whole Shiva's dance, the cosmic dance of impermanence. So that's why clarity is important, but personal clarity not enough. One more step is necessary. The question is, self-image and ego, are they the same or are they different?
The way I understand that ego is attaching to your idea and your opinion. It's mean if I'm right, you must be wrong. If I'm good, you have to be bad. Self-image is one of big illusion we have. And we can believe in that illusion. My suggestion for you, put down both of them.
If you look into the mirror in the bathroom, what do you see? Only that?
Az arcomat.
Your face. Good. When you move out of the bathroom, do you expect your face to be still in the mirror?
Nem.
Good. Then you have self-image but no ego. That's good. Your self-image every day in front of the mirror, changing, 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 changing. But don't confuse this face with your true face. Your true face has no name, no form. That's why you heard, put it down. Put down both of them. But self-image, you can work with that. Ego is an attitude. Ego is attachment, identification, etc. And that's why we would expect that our face of 20 years ago would still be in the mirror. And you would see that. Oh, how beautiful that would be. Have you read this book by Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray? That's where the problem is so clear. So that's where you can see the ego problem lucid and clear in a whole book, you know, as the process goes, you know, his self-image and his ego are just drastically becoming different. And when the two crashes, he dies. So correct feedback is important. We look into the mirror, you see your own, you know, physical face, your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own actions. So cause and effect become clear. So you see your own personality. But if you make if you identify with it, if you make this into your own ego, then this attitude just completely destroys everything. You lose your true self then. It's like trying to burn your face into the mirror, try to see that every single day without change. So the absolute, your true self would become this face with these holes, with these ears and this nose. Now that is complete ignorance. So as you heard, see clearly, hear clearly, feel, think, act, etc. Clearly, perceive cause and effect. But don't make this I am on top of this. I think Orient taught us very important lessons, but the West has a lot of merits too. The Orient taught us that originally your self, your notion of ego doesn't exist. We make it. We make it. And our relationship to others, to the community, to family, etc. is the most important thing. But the West teaches us individuality, creativity, critical thinking, responsibility, etc. The Orient can make a mistake when individual responsibility is lost, and then department stores collapse, airplanes go into mountainsides. This all happened, you know, in a group-based society, Korea. So when the individual doesn't see his or her own responsibility for his or her own actions, speech, thoughts, and emotions, then we lose, then we are ignorant. But equally, if you say, I am the absolute, you know, this self is the ego, the cogito ergo sum type of mistake, that's a big, big ignorant view. What's the balance between the individual and the group? How do you see your freedom and take responsibility at the same time? So remember, the Orient teaches us don't identify with the experience, but use the experience correctly. The West has a fixed notion of self, and we have to go beyond that. But the self as a notion is important. Otherwise, how do you take responsibility? How do you experience freedom? So if these views are still conflicting, just go drink tea. Don't bother too much.
Does different season, like summer or winter, affect our clarity? And does different places in the world affecting our clarity?
Yes. Even the moon phase affects that.
There are rules?
Oh yes. There are 3-4 days in a month when you have to be very, very careful. Anywhere you go, any season during the year, you have to be very careful. But depending on your physical condition, you can respond very well to cold weather, warm weather, humid or dry. And that is something we bring from our previous lives. Just like the body we have, the body has certain conditions. And our practice teaches us to go beyond that and override that. So focus on your Tantian. Your Tantian is the biggest balance maker energetically and mentally between you and the world. If you focus on your Tantian, you can give off energy when necessary, like in cold weather it heats you up. And in this very humid and tropical weather, you can actually learn how to absorb that and how to dissipate that. And your body doesn't produce so much heat, then you don't suffer.
I would like to address Tamir with a question. In your intro, you said that the direction in your life was very clear from your 20s, which was making peace. And what kind of advice can you give me? Because I don't sense any clear direction in my life. Something brought me here for this Kyolche. I'm here for the whole 90 days. But I don't comprehend fully why I'm here. There is something about Zen and the big figures of other religions like Buddha, Jesus, Ramana Maharshi. I sense that. But how can I turn this into daily life? I'm an engineer. I go back to work. So how can I find a direction?
You know, after 20 years, I can tell you that my direction is clear. It wasn't clear from the beginning, but I, like you, I sense something. My biggest tip for you, as for myself, I always say, it's to ask the question. Ask it directly. What is my direction? And ask it sincerely. And you will see, something will come up. In the beginning, you become skeptical. You put it aside. For me, it was like, took maybe 2 or 3 years to digest and agree with this direction. I understood the same event, that this is my direction, but I couldn't agree with that. I resisted. I thought it's too big. I remember even told myself, I'm only 21 years old. What do you talk about peace? And when I arrived in Korea, it's something very interesting because my direction pulled me to Korea to meet different people with the same direction. Even before I know it's the same direction. So for the first 2 years, I sat with this question, what is my direction? I already understood at the same time when I entered the door, I bring some energy to the room. I'm not talking about mystical thing. You bring relaxed energy, you bring smile, you bring upset, you bring confused. What do you bring into the room? And actually this question do for me a big transformation. Nowadays I'm very comfortable to arrive in a place, I don't know the people, and I say, my name is Tamir and I'm here for peace. It's very interesting for me how they digest me. So for me, direction comes with decision. And the decision is only to do it. So before I start to teach, I was a construction builder. When I arrived in Israel after 4 years being a monk, I had to make my living. So I went to work in a construction building. And it's interesting. In Israel, the culture, it's if you hear a sound, or maybe people, you know, make a construction in a building, between 2 to 4 noontime, somebody will knock on your door. So in the beginning, when I opened the door to see who is it, they complain about the noise. But after a few minutes of just listening to them, don't say even any one word, you know, they just complain, they start to ask, you know, I have a problem in my apartment. And it was very interesting because every building, every apartment we work, was like, you know, in that building, in different apartment, it was an old person or somebody that doesn't know how to fix something, and they always ask from us. And I have the knowledge to fix things. So I find myself any construction, any project, help, you know, one old person, another old woman, somebody not to do how to do something, try to help them, try to fix something. Most of the time without taking any money for it. So my direction is clear, to help. So many shapes, many ways. It's the situation appear and something come up from your tangent, from your intuition. The second short thing to give you is to be with the question. When I arrived in the South Korea, I understand only one way of using a question, which means I have a question, I need to give an answer. And Zen and the wonderful teacher taught me to stay with the question. And I can really tell you the answer is your life. So the question guides us, if you let it guide you. First don't know, then something happens. Try it.
Thank you.
Kind of keeps me busy that Heart Sutra says, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. But I'm in the kitchen, you know, preparing breakfast, so there is taste and smell and sight and whatnot. So how far does this no eyes, no ears type of thing go? And when does it really appear that this is this taste and that sight and that smell, etc.? Come back to this point. This point is no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, etc. Then your mind becomes clear like space, clear like a mirror. Then you can see clearly, hear clearly, taste, smell, touch, etc. clearly. But if you don't come back to this point, then your previous karma covers your mirror very thick, and your mirror is not clear. Also, if you attach to this point, then you lose your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and it means attached to emptiness. That's the other problem. Don't think how far does this go, and when the world comes in. This is wrong thinking. These are not conversely opposite. Because you come back to this clarity, in a bad word we call it emptiness. It's one of the biggest mistakes, but let's say emptiness or clarity or completeness. Because of that, the sky is blue and the trees are green. Without that, not possible. So originally this point has no name, no form. Anything I say is a lie. But the closest to the original, the smallest lie is we say don't know. Then use this don't know, then become clear. Then next to truth, there is function. That's the third step. So this point, substance. Perceive clearly like, you know, in a mirror, truth. The third one, function. These three are united at this moment. At this moment, these three are not separate. When we talk about Zen and method and practice and structure, we can spell them out. But originally, these three are never separate.
Zen Master Sung San had a wonderful teaching. He said, kat ai mai mi, which means if you kat ai mai mi, there is only color, only smell, only taste. I will tell you a story. When I was a henja, you're soon going to become a nun. So, long time henja, you will have to be. I did a henja training 1 year in Huagesa. And we were 6 of us, 3 Western, 2 one from South Africa and 1 from Canada, and 1 Korean person. We did 6, all of us, henja training. Every day cleaning, washing, making chesa, bring the food for the funeral ceremony, stepping the clothes, do lots of jobs. After 6 months, the Korean went to henja training like 3 weeks. How they call it?
Henja training.
Henja training, yeah.
Quite henja training.
And returned as a new monk. When we were henja together, very close friend. But now he's a monk. And he's like our chief now. So he wants to teach us to be humble. So he took all of us to the front gate and stood us over there, face each other, and said, everything that pass, you should bow to him. So you can imagine, 5 people are standing in the front gate, and every person come and go, we need to bow. Lots of anger up. But in Korean temple, monks say, Henjadu. There is nothing to say. You just have to do it.
Hungarian temple, same.
Okay. After a few moments, everybody's face was really red. A man passed, we bow. A woman passed, we bow. A woman with a taxi, we bow as well. Then the dog come. It smell lunchtime soon. And automatic, all of us. So we all laugh. And then all the anger disappear. Then I realized that if you don't add I, my, me, then no problem. I can be without idea. Just do it. So just see, just hear, just smell, just taste. Just act. Yeah, that's it.
I have a 6-year-old grandchild who's been really complaining ever since he or she turned age 4. If you talk about any disasters, negativity, catastrophe in the family when the child is present. First she was just giving off sounds and then making faces. Now she can actually articulate what she wants to say. You are not supposed to talk about these issues like that. Please do not say these things. What should we do with this and how should we kind of insightfully handle this?
When she talked like that, okay, she said like that, you shouldn't talk like that. What's the problem?
So usually we take her word and we stop talking about these issues that she doesn't like. Disasters, catastrophes, negative things, etc. That's what they do. Mm. Can we teach her something, explain to her something, or we just have to take this from her as she's teaching us?
Okay. Actually, both of it, it's wonderful. I really believe give tools for children. One of the tools you can use her body. In our body there is sensation. And if they know to find the sensation she feel uncomfortable, she will have a way how to handle and to deal with what happened in her body when she listened to these words. With my children, when we talk things like that, and they feel uncomfortable, or different things. We can talk about their school and they don't like it, Okay? So my children already know to look for what happened uncomfortable in their body. Maybe they choke or squeeze, or their stomach, their bellies move. And I teach them the first very basic thing, just to breathe into it. Then they have a tool how to handle their life. This is what I try with my children.
There's a lot of things we don't understand about children. So if you don't understand why she's responding, observe her. Sometimes the biggest mystery is the person who was born to you, and it takes many years to actually see that karma, why that person was born to you. So observe the child in that situation and really see clearly what's going on. Most of the time, children at this point, at this age, they do not understand the intellectual structure of what you're saying, but they perfectly perceive the emotions. So try to talk about these issues, if you really have to, in her company, with a light heart and a kind of neutral overtone, although the intellectual content can be very serious or challenging. So how many times have we practiced in our drama class, good morning, how are you today? Good morning, how are you today? Good morning, how are you today? So you can say this in 1,000 ways. So how do you color the content with your emotions? this emotional content creates the space, the energy, which the children, they just feel 1,000%. They're so sensitive. In fact, they are the kind of canary in the nuclear power plant. When a mother and father, they have a problem, they immediately start to cry or misbehave or something, because they represent that disharmony, that energy which persists at that time, that space. Most of the time at this age, intellectually, they wouldn't understand what's going on. It would give them even harder time. Get a good book of tales, nice tales, and read that, and then they go into wonderland. Their minds, that's why we love stories, fantasies, tales, movies, whatever. We want to go to wonderland. So you give that to the kid, they forget all about it.
My question is about praxis, about how much effort we should do the praxis. And at the end, it's the text or the books are saying we should do it without effort, well, effortless. And then there's this term like self-liberating. Maybe you can tell something about that.
In the beginning, you bring lots of effort, even too much effort. I'm not talking about like the all-day practice. When I said too much effort, I mean you try to achieve something, to get something outside the practice. You need to run yourself to that. You need to push yourself. Then you get tired. You see days and you do lots of bowing, lots of chanting, lots of sitting, and you don't get anything. Then slowly, slowly, more relax, more calm down. Less effort, less try to achieve something. Just sit for sit, just walk for walk, just bow to bow. Don't get anything, don't try to achieve anything. So we say it's very high class to come to the point of just sit. All of us, when we sit, we don't just sit, we think. Sometimes even we think about keeping don't know mind, keeping this clear mind, wonderful teaching, we should keep it. But at the time we don't keep clear mind, we think about clear mind. It's completely different. So I really believe a practitioner needs to go from one side to the other side until he finds the middle. Until then, you will never know what is your middle way. And as much you will try to figure it out with your thinking, you waste your time. So when I entered the temple at the monastery at South Korea, I was 22 years old. Lots of energy. Every day, try 1,000 bows, as the master said. So he said, I try. After 2 months, I couldn't walk. I was walking and my knees was making different sound completely. Then slowly, slowly I understand what is my correct effort. And I have to be honest with you, I'm still make it fine-tuning all the time. Try to correct it all the time.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about anger. I have, wow! Not mine. But how to deal with anger people. I have around me few very important people that I really appreciate and I want to make peace.
And they're angry.
Very angry. And I cannot, I tried from this door and from this door, compassion and hearing and sorry and nothing helps. They keep the anger and they're really close physically, even living the same door, the same building.
First of all, do not identify with their anger. That's really important. Don't let that suck you in. First of all, develop the center that doesn't move no matter what kind of attitude you experience. Sometimes we experience this really angry, destructive people, and we go like this or we go like this, either yin or yang, but they moved your center. You lose. So if you have this not moving mind, you can reflect this anger. If you don't identify the person with his or her karma, then you have a chance to find a frequency, like a gateway to the person's mind, which is not based on this anger. It goes like this. I know you are not this anger. I know this is just your karma. I'm talking now to your Buddha nature, not to your ego, not to your anger, not to your attachment. And this kind of attitude is like using a different radio frequency from the usual. And you don't talk to them right away, because talking is actually a big deal in this case. It opens up Pandora's box and then all kinds of crap appears. So just pass them on the corridor and have this frequency and this mind-to-mind connection. I know this anger is not you. I'm talking to your Buddha nature right now. And next, when you have to interact with them, don't touch this karma. Don't want to make them better. Don't want to make them peaceful. It's enough that you are unmoving, perceptive, and you establish correct relationship. These are the 3 steps that I have just listed. Next step is together action. Bypass the verbal part. So don't want to have result out of talking, because all this karma appears, as I've said. So have some surface for together action, and that together action will fix it. If they are not willing to do together action, then keep a distance. Seung Sahn Sunim taught us very few sentences on methodology, how we teach or how we use Zen, but he said something really important. It's 4 sentences. 1, if you practice and you are with non-practitioners, you may teach them the Dharma if they are open. If they're not open enough, then you can give them what they need. Really, material. Sometimes you serve them, like Tamir fixes the neighbor's things. You know, that was giving them what they need. It was wonderful. You don't check the mind of your neighbor, but your neighbor has a problem with the pipe or the stove or the electricity. Okay, how can I help you? Then you fix it. This kind of stuff. Or they're going shopping, you're going shopping. Okay, can I bring you something? This kind of stuff. Very spontaneous, very clear. Giving them what they need. Third, if these 2 don't work, give them good words. So then correct speech. Maybe they don't want to connect to you at this action level, like this kind of give them what they need type of level, but you can still talk nicely to them. The 4th is just do together action. That happens in the army. Sometimes you really don't like and don't trust your fellow soldiers. You just don't like them. I went through the army, same way as he did. And through together action, you can take away most of this like and dislike mind. But choose very carefully. Develop your qualities first, and when that's stable, you can do these things. When your dharma is weaker than somebody else's karma, you feel that the world is upside down and there's something really wrong with the way things work. There's nothing wrong, you're just weak. That's it. So get stronger, clearer, find the right method, then you can do it. And sometimes you have to accept that you're not nearly as strong as you have to be, then keep a distance. Okay? When you do that, you become wiser and clearer, and then eventually you will be strong enough to engage. But don't engage on the losing end when you know that you're fighting a losing battle. Don't.
Okay, she said that she's in a crossroad now. She's on a crossroad in her life, and she can choose maybe to go to the east, and one of the things is to getting inside the monastery and practice. And she's wondering if it's come from helping all beings or escaping from something.
When you get to the east, you'll figure it out. If you don't make that step, you'll never know. So leave home, go to the destination where you want to go, no expectations. And then you have insight into yourself. What is it that made that trip? Because it will be not the same as the one that comes back. That's our treasure. During this life of hardships and joy and sorrow and all these opposites that we go through on this earth, in this very frail, impermanent body, we can figure out why we are here and why we are doing what we're doing, and do the best that we can. So thank you very much for everybody for making this trip here. Short distance, long distance, doesn't matter. But we are all here and we share the Dharma tonight. I want to thank Tamir for his wonderful speech and answers. And let's make the best of our time together in the next week and the following months and years. Thank you.